This week on A&N, the president of the Adventist Church encourages members to move confidently with God in the new year.
Humanitarians deliver food in 2 regions of the Philippines that experienced powerful back-to-back typhoons.
And volunteers provide more than $40 million worth of free medical services during a mega health clinic in the U.S. state of Arizona.
These stories and more coming up.
First in the news, the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church encouraged members to take time to follow God's guidance in 2018.
In his commentary, Ted Wilson said, "As we enter the new year, it is so important to gain a fresh picture of who we are and at what stage in history we are living."
Looking back at 2017, we have seen multiple areas of change throughout the world and striking fulfillments of Bible prophecy.
He went on to say, "What an expectation we have as we head into 2018, leaning on the Lord completely and allowing His faithful power to control our thoughts and actions, guiding our outreach to others in this momentous time."
Visit news.adventist.org to read the full message.
The Philippines was struck by 2 tropical storms that affected nearly 2 million people in the week leading up to Christmas. The storms were Kai-Tak, locally known as Urduja, and Tembin, locally known as Vinta. Kai-Tak was the first to hit the nation. The slow-moving storm made landfall 6 times, which brought heavy rainfall. There were 40 confirmed casualties due to flooding and landslides. Of the 1,700 towns that were affected, many still haven't recovered from Typhoon Haiyan, which struck in 2013. Haiyan, the Category 5 super typhoon, killed more than 7,000 people and leveled numerous towns. When Kai-Tak left the region, Tembin moved into the southern Philippines on December 22. Tembin caused the deaths of more than 200 people and affected 270,000. Both storms caused nearly $25 million worth of damage. Teams from the Adventist Development and Relief Agency in the Philippines and the local Adventist Community Services distributed food to vulnerable families. The teams delivered a week's worth of food to 500 families in wake of the devastating storms. Visit facebook.com/ADRA Philippines to follow the agency's relief efforts.
Free, life-transforming Christmas gifts were given to those who traveled to the U.S. state of Arizona for a medical clinic. The Adventist Church's Your Best Pathway to Health clinic took place December 25 through 27. More than 6,700 people received health services provided by 3,300 volunteers in the city of Phoenix. The 3-day mega clinic took place at the Phoenix Convention Center. Patients received medical, surgical, dental, vision, physical therapy, and lifestyle education services. Volunteers also provided financial and legal advice, child care, and haircuts. The value of procedures and services performed amounted to more than $40.6 million. We have an in-depth video report of the clinic in the coming weeks.
A local Seventh-day Adventist church in Nupuka, Papua New Guinea, created an opportunity for reconciliation among faith groups and community members. A group of natives expressed remorse for their actions toward the Lutheran missionary who was the first to bring the gospel to the district. They admitted to killing, then eating the missionary's donkey. The Garimiaka Seventh-day Adventist Church brought together representatives of various denominations to address the hurt. The group also resolved to create solutions to move forward as a community. Faith leaders from the Foursquare Church of Christ Evangelical Brotherhood Church, a Baptist church, and the Lutheran churches came together for the reconciliation program. Locals also apologized for recently vandalizing the property of an Adventist church. After the public confessions, the Lutheran and Adventist pastors responded by acknowledging the apologies and exercising forgiveness for the wrongdoings.
A branch of the flagship medical institution of the Adventist Church was recently granted a 3-year accreditation by the Commission on Cancer, or COC. The commission is part of the American College of Surgeons. Loma Linda University Medical Center, Marietta, received their accreditation by meeting and/or exceeding 34 of COC's quality care standards. The cancer program in the nearly 7-year-old hospital provides a multidisciplinary approach to treating cancer. The method includes consultation among surgeons, medical and radiation oncologists, and other cancer specialists. The senior vice president and administrator of the hospital spoke on the achievement and the dedication of the professionals who work in the center. Peter Baker said, "We take pride in knowing that our patients will receive quality, comprehensive, and compassionate care during their cancer journey." COC accredited facilities diagnose and treat more than 70% of all newly diagnosed cancer patients in the U.S. and Puerto Rico.
Coming up, the first French Adventist theological journal is published.
But up next, the church responds when the parents of an Adventist leader pass away on the same day.
Ich bin Gerald. Ich spreche Deutsch. Es gibt so viele gute adventistische Videos, doch so wenige sind übersetzt. Du kannst uns helfen.
Join the Amara translation and caption team today. Amara is easy to learn and fun. You can volunteer in your free time. Join this community today and provide great content in your language.
A leader of one of the church's global regions suffered a tremendous loss the day after Christmas.
Rafat Kamal, president of the church's Trans-European territory, lost his father, Adel, due to a fatal heart attack. The heart attack followed a seemingly successful surgery that took place a week prior.
When Adel's wife, Rafat's mother, heard the news, she also succumbed to a heart attack.
Adel and Najwa are survived by their 3 children, Rafat and his 2 sisters, Hikmat and Nehmat, and their families. The couple was memorialized on December 29 in Beirut, Lebanon.
The Trans-European territory released a statement in response to the deaths. It says, "Our sympathies and prayers are with the family at this time."
It goes on to say, at this time when we remember the incarnation of our Lord Jesus Christ, we also live in the hope of his promised return in a time when God promises that he will make all things new.
The Adventist Theological Seminary in France this year released the first issue of a French theological journal. The journal is named Servir Revue Adventiste de Théologie, which translates to Serve Adventist Review of Theology. It was produced by the School of Theology on the campus Adventiste du Salive. The school's dean initiated the project last year. Gabrielle Monet said this journal fills a gap in the French-speaking Adventist space since the 1999 shutdown of the magazine, which was published by the Department of the Ministerial Association of the Inter-European Division. According to leaders of the church's Inter-European region, Servir reflects a vision that seeks engagement. They say serving combines reflection and action and the conjugation of human and divine action. The school's administrators hope biblical scholars and theologians will continue to build on this momentum for French-speaking Adventists. This can be done through their publications and research.
Adult coloring books have been lauded for their positive contributions to the mental health of their users. The books are often used to keep the mind engaged while performing the relaxing task of coloring designs. Leaders of women's ministries in the church's Trans-European territory have created a Bible study in the form of an adult coloring book that focuses on prolific women of the Bible. Trans-European Region News, or TED News, has more.
I'm so excited to tell you about something new that has come out of the Women's Ministry Department. The Bible study, Women in the Bible and Me, which actually comes from the General Conference, is something that we have decided to do something extra with. So what we've done is we've made a colouring book that goes with this Bible study. It's a 14 lessons to do, and for each lesson we have 3 pictures for you to colour by 3 different artists. One from Estonia, one from Serbia, and one from Great Britain. So they have different styles, and you can use the book more often when you're doing Bible studies, either personally or whether you're doing it in a group form, which is another way of using this book. So here we have Deborah, and then we have Deborah again, and we have Deborah, done in 3 different ways. And as you can see, when you've coloured, it looks really amazing. And it also helps you to focus on the word, because when you're colouring, you're actually listening more and you're more open because you're using both sides of your brain. And that's why colouring is so relaxing. Colouring opens up your thoughts and your mind. And we thought a colouring book would be a great addition so that those who don't know so much about the Bible are actually doing something but colouring at the same time and taking in more information. Now, the colouring book can be used as a colouring book, but it can also be used as a journal. So here, to give you an idea of what you can do, is I've put the lesson here in the journal, coloured the pictures, put my thoughts here about what I found in Deborah which I might not have seen before. And I've put an envelope in the back so that if I find some quotes or if I find some things later about Deborah, I can put them in here so that it becomes a complete picture for me. And I like journaling, so this is good. Because it's the women's ministry department, of course, everyone thinks it's just for women. But actually, the Bible studies are written in such a way that they look for things that's what I like about the Bible studies. It's not just about what's in the Bible, but what it tells me today. And that's what I like, to find new insights into what does this story tell me for me today. And we hope that this will help you to start a Bible study group for yourself, or maybe in your local church, or for people outside the church, because they are done in such a way that it won't really make people feel uncomfortable. Especially if you're thinking about, like Deborah, the first lesson, it's more about how a woman can actually use her gifts in the service of God, and how she used her leadership to bring peace to Israel for 40 years, and how we sometimes as women don't use the gifts that we have. So a lot of the Bible studies are something that you can use in your daily life.
And finally, for the news this week, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency in Romania released a music video during the Christmas season that highlights the role love plays when helping refugees. The Love is the Way video is part of ADRA Romania's Hope for Immigrants initiative. The campaign aims to raise awareness of the international migration crisis. Hope for Immigrants also seeks to show solidarity with the 65 million people who are displaced from their homes.
Strange looking faces. What do they know? Shadows of dust, no place to trust, no place for them to go.
Open your eyes now and see the grief of the world.
So many dreams to be told. Everywhere, do we care?
We could be one soul under the sun,
Breathing life again,
together one heart singing a song.
breaking down the chains.
So if we stop now one soul under the sun.
Breathing life again.
Together one heart singing a song.
Breaking down the chains.
So if we stop now and the dark of the night, there's a brand new day. We could be one soul under the sun.
Breathing life again.
Together one heart singing a song.
Breaking down the chains.
So if we stop now in the dark of the night, there's a brand new day.
Love is the only way.
أهلي بيعانوا حوالي، بتمنوا يعملوا أي شي، لا في إيديهم ولا في إيدي، نهرب من هاي العيشة.
Coming up, ANN's producer highlights online engagement guidelines for our website and social media accounts.
But up next, learn about the brothers who helped launch the Methodist Church.
The smell in that room, my husband said, was so strong that he felt like he himself was going to suffocate if he stayed there any longer. And so he rushed over to the crib and felt Simon to see if he was still breathing. And he grabbed Simon and brought him out of the room. In the morning, we took him to the doctor, and the doctor said, yes, that was definitely a close call, but Simon is great. There's no problem with him whatsoever. And so no longer did I ever feel that those nightly prayers we had for Simon's protection were a routine. Yes, we did them on a routine basis, but they made a difference. My name is Marla, and my prayer was answered.
Welcome back.
Did you know before its official inception, the Methodist Church began as a club that focused on Bible studies and community service?
This week's episode of Lineage unpacks the humble origins of Methodism.
John Wesley was born in 1703, just before the Industrial Revolution took place, during a time when England was a firmly Anglican country. He was born in the small village of Epworth in the north of England, where his father served as the rector. This here is the family home where he would have grown up and spent his childhood. His mother bore 19 children in total, and the most famous of the others was Charles Wesley. Both of the parents were spiritual people and ran the home according to strict rules. No eating in between meals, and once a week they had an interview with their mother for the purpose of spiritual instruction. John and his brother Charles came here to study at Oxford University, where they enrolled at Christ College. Many of the great movements of this world have been born at universities, and although he did not know it at the time, John Wesley was about to be part of this phenomenon. He graduated from Christ College with a bachelor's and then with a master's, before he was elected a fellow at Lincoln College, where he was given his own room and a salary. His room can still be seen today, preserved as he left it. He left for about a year or so to go back to Epworth at the request of his father before returning back here to university. It was on his return that he found his brother Charles had started a small club for the purpose of Bible study and in pursuit of Christian life. Each member took vows to lead holy lives, pray daily, take communion weekly, and visit prisons regularly. The group was incredibly practical, preaching educating, relieving jail debtors where possible, and caring for the sick. They would fast every Wednesday, and on each day they would meet from 6 to 9 p.m. and the name that they were called was the Holy Club. However, this is not what they became known by. In 1733, an unknown author wrote in a pamphlet and described them as the Oxford Methodists, and slowly this name began to stick. It was also here that John Wesley's paths would cross with another man who would go on to have a huge impact, George Whitefield. George Whitefield graduated from Pembroke College, and when he finished university, rather than settle in a parish, he immediately began preaching, becoming an itinerant preacher and evangelist. He traveled all over England, in particular in Bristol, where he spent some time with John Wesley, and they both did open-air preaching. Both the Wesleys and Whitefield would spend time in America, but with differing results in their ministries. John Wesley went to Georgia, but it did not go very well, and he returned home to England. George Whitefield traveled to America on 7 different occasions, had much success, and was well liked. He was involved in the Great Awakening that took place in the 1700s, a great religious revival, and is also remembered as one of the first that preached to those enslaved. The roots of this far-reaching movement of Methodism go back to a small group Bible study with a handful of students on a university campus. Zechariah chapter 4 verse 10 says, "Do not despise the day of small things. Never underestimate the impact of a small movement with humble beginnings." The Wesleys and Whitefield did not start the Holy Club because they wanted to found a church or travel the world, but because they wanted to change their life and the lives of those around them. I pray that you may seek to make a difference wherever you are, be it at home, work, or school. Do not despise the day of small things.
Be sure to visit lineajourney.com to learn more.
We love connecting with our online viewers and readers and watching interactions among our social media followers, but we're keen on maintaining productive dialogue.
For this week's social media segment, ANN producer Jennifer Stymus is here to underscore our online engagement guidelines for ANN.
Recently, we enabled the ability to comment on stories on news.adventist.org. ANN is committed to giving you up-to-date Adventist news and discussing important church and social issues, both here on ANN Video and on our website. We want to hear your voice because we believe honest, open discussion is important. Here are just a few tips to make sure your voice is heard. These guidelines are applicable to our website and to the Adventist churches and ANN's Facebook pages. First, stick to the subject at hand. If we post an article on evangelism in the Middle East, don't change the subject to the health message. We also ask that you don't twist the subject to talk about what you want to talk about. If you want to have a topic discussed or written about, we'd love to hear from you. And you can email us at annvideo11@gmail.com or message us on Facebook. Second, please don't post links. Your comments won't be approved or they will be deleted. Third, read the article or post before you comment. It's really distracting to other readers when someone is commenting or criticizing an article. It's obvious you've never read. Fourth, be respectful. Be respectful to the post, be respectful to those who are reading the post, and be respectful to others who are commenting. Do not call each other names. If you are disrespectful or mean or engaging in name calling, your comment will be deleted and you may be blocked from commenting again by our administrators. Remember that everyone, from the people who are in the story to the person who prepared the post to the people reading and commenting on it, are all children of God and they should be treated as such. We are looking forward to hearing your voice on ANN and on our different social media pages. And if you can follow these few very easy guidelines, you will make sure we do. God bless.
For this week's Adventist History segment, we'd like to introduce Alejandra Castillo, who recently joined the church's Archives, Statistics, and Research Department.
Castillo will join David Trim, Henry Hilton, and Ashley Chisholm as a contributor for This Week in Adventist History.
She's here today to highlight a notable literary editor who served the Adventist Church for nearly 50 years.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On January 10, 1891, Harry Moyle Tippett was born in a tin mining village in Cornwall, England, but his family moved to Montana when he was just a toddler. As a boy and a young teen, Tippett loved school, but his education was interrupted when his mother died and he had to get a job to support the family. Nevertheless, Tippett was a voracious reader, which led him to the Third Angel's Message in his early 20s. This is how he founded the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Butte, Montana, where he met his future wife, Gladys Robinson. In the next 7 years, Tippett went from working in copper mines to completing his education at Walla Walla College. Upon graduation in 1924, Tippett was immediately called to teach English at Sutherland Academy in Oregon, where he served as principal the following year. In just 2 years, he moved again, this time to Emmanuel Missionary College, known today as Andrews University, to teach English. He stayed there 20 years and became the chair of the English department. In 1946, at 55 years of age, Tippett was named associate book editor for the Review and Herald Publishing Association. While Tippett expected to serve 10 years in this capacity, he actually stayed for 25. In total, Tippett gave 47 years to the work of the church. In recognition of this service, Andrews University conferred on him the Doctor of Letters degree in 1961. Altogether, Tippett edited several hundred books and authored at least 12. He also wrote a variety of pamphlets and columns in which he placed a great emphasis on the transformative power of literature. For example, in the Review and Herald's October 6, 1966 edition, Tippett writes that, quote, "As readers we emerge from a book not merely a different person, but a better person than we were," end quote. He continued serving the Adventist Church until 1971, just 3 years before his death in Loma Linda, California. That was This Week in Adventist History.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
We'd love to hear from you. Send us your feedback and tell us how your church is making a difference in its community.
Be sure to capture plenty of video footage and photos, then write up a summary of the event's important details. And feel free to send full video reports as well.
You can reach us by sending an email to annvideo11@gmail.com.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3.
The passage says, "Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.